Hey guys, my name is Amantha Pereira and I'm at Barressentials, which is one of the most revolutionized wellness centers in Sri Lanka. And I'm gonna have a quick chat with Nare Bandaranayake, who is the brainchild behind this lovely operation. See you guys. Hey guys, I'm here with the owner of Barressentials, Nare Bandaranayake. Hi Nare.
Hi Amantha.
So could you tell me, what is Barressential?
Barressential is a boutique wellness studio, and we focus on two major forms of exercise, Bar and Pilates, both of which were very novel to Sri Lanka when I first got started. And now we are operating in this 2,000 square foot studio space we are in today, with 2 studio rooms, and we focus on 3 different types of exercise, so Bar, Pilates and Reformer Pilates as well.
So having learned Bar and Pilates in London, what made you want to bring a foreign style of working out into Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so basically, whilst I was in London, I was doing Bar and Pilates as a client. So I was working in finance and then going to classes early morning or late evening, and I got really addicted to it. And I'm someone who hates to exercise. So I'm not the sporty person in school. I don't ever go to a gym, but this I really got into. So when I moved back to Sri Lanka in 2016, I found it really hard to not have these 2 forms in the country. So I tried things out and it just wasn't working for me. And I felt that just generally in the industry, it was a little bit of stagnancy based off of old forms of exercise.
Yeah.
So either reliance on a gym, which you probably go to, right? Or things like Zumba or aerobics, which are great on their own rights, but not something that I was interested in. So it was extremely selfish to get started, but I just wanted someone to do it. And I kept telling people, why don't you start? Why don't you start? And then I thought, you know what? Why don't I start it up? Because I've been going for so many classes. So it was a matter of getting certified in Bar. And I actually started in my living room. So out of a personal need, Barressential was born. And partly because my background is in finance and I've been looking at a lot of investments for the X number of years in my previous life, I wanted to build a company. I didn't want to be an instructor. So I focused on Barressential being the most professional experience that you could gain as a client, even whilst it was in my living room. So for about 2 years, the main thing we lacked was a studio space, right? So this beautiful space that was in my head just wasn't there physically. But from the way you book, from how we interact with our clients, from our Instagram channel, everything was extremely professionally done. And that allowed us to attract a new form of clientele. And the beauty of it is a lot of people who are attracted to this are a lot of people like me who hate to exercise. Then they come, they do a bit of Bar, they do a bit of Pilates, and they think, hey, this is addictive, this is something I can do. And then they just continue on.
So what is the difference between Bar and Pilates if you compare it with a normal basic dumbbell workout in the gym?
Yeah, so Bar and Pilates is different in its own right from each other. Both are rehab forms of exercise. They were both born out of a need to rehab the founder of the 2 forms of exercise. So if you look at Bar, it's a full body workout. It has its base in ballet because it was started by a ballerina called Lottie Burke in the 60s, and she wanted to rehab herself. And then what happened was it just took on as a crazy exercise fad probably in the 90s, and mostly in the last 10 to 15 years. Most of the major premium studios you'll find in New York, London, Melbourne, wherever, it's going to be Bar or Reform Pilates studios. And then when you look at Pilates, so Joseph Pilates actually started the original form Contrology back in the World War I time, so before that even. So he was trying to get all the different forms of exercise from around the world. So if you look at gymnastics, Tai Chi, yoga, there's components of everything in Pilates, and his main purpose was also to rehab his clients. So when you look at it, Bar and Pilates are both excellent for people who have injuries, who have had surgeries, if you are pre and postnatal, if you need any sort of specialist care, these forms of exercise are very kind to your body, but it still gives you a kick-ass workout. The other ways we differ from traditional dumbbell workouts or at the gym or even CrossFit, right, is we look at the smaller muscles in your body. So when you go to the gym, you're lifting heavy weights, or if you're running or whatever it is, you're using the bigger muscles of your body. Whereas with Bar and Pilates, we work the smaller muscles. So even if a CrossFit person or a crazy athlete comes to Barressential, what they find is they start shaking halfway through the class because we're working the smaller muscles, which hasn't got that much love in their traditional training. So 1, we focus on smaller muscles. 2, we focus on rehab. And 3, it's Barressential itself, we focus on specialist instruction. So I'm very particular about how we train our clients. So it's to cause no harm. If a client has any injury in our premises, that's actually inexcusable for us. As such, the instructors are trained from the utter basics, so anatomy onwards, upwards. So if you look at how they cue a class, how they can, if you're in a room with 16 or 17 people back before the pandemic hit, the instructor has to be able to keep an eye on you no matter what. And we don't allow beginners to just, do what they can and then roll off the class. We try and put in as much effort into a beginner to correct their form as much as for an advanced client. So
I've seen you guys work out, and you guys are mostly like into muscle-mind connection. I've seen it,
awesome.
It's very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So that's literally it. We try and educate the client as to what muscles they're using. So most often than not, when people leave a class, they say, oh, I just, I worked out muscles I didn't even think I had. And then they learn small little things like what's a glute, right? You walk out and you're like, hey, I know what a glute is now. So it's a lot of education. Because we think that if you know what muscle you're working out, you're bound to activate it a lot better and then get into the correct form that gets you that strength or toning or whatever it is you need in that particular muscle.
Yeah, so me being a fitness enthusiast myself, there's a common misconception saying that the only way to get your ideal body is by lifting heavy weights and let's say cardio, treadmill. What do you have to say to that? Do you think Bar and Pilates could make you reach your ideal physique?
100%. I think it's a great complementary form of exercise, which is why I feel like with everything else that's available in the Colombo market or the Sri Lankan market now that we're all virtual, Bar and Pilates both have a really great way of complementing what you do in your other places of work. So this doesn't need to be the one place you come to or the one class you do. Some people do that, right? Some people do 4 to 5 classes of just hours a week. That's great. We love that. I would do the same thing. But if you're an athlete, if you're someone who's doing CrossFit, you'll find that even 1 class a week or 2 classes a week of Pilates or Reformer Pilates in there would do amazing things for their form just generally. And we've had that been told to us by clients.
So does each client get his or her own customized routine, or do they have to go through a standardized process?
So what happens is if you sign up for a private session, because we offer privates and groups, privates are super customized, right? So it's looking at your body, focusing on the points of your body that needs a little bit of stabilizing or strengthening, points of your body that needs flexibility or stretching, and then incorporating it into a 1 or 30-minute workout. And then progressing it and leveling it up as you get stronger. Whereas in a group class, all our classes are mixed. So a beginner can come, an advanced person can come, and it's the instructor's job to deliver their best class to both ends of that spectrum. So it's not that you come for a class and you're an advanced client and you're just watching someone else just start on the machine. Or if you come as someone who's super new and then struggling because we're focusing on the other end. We try and customize each person's workout within a group class. And that's particularly because our class sizes are small. Reformer, we only take 4 people currently. We're going to increase that to 5, although we have 6 machines. We're being safe because of COVID. And in the Bar and Pilates room, we only take 5 clients at present, although it can fill up to 14. And in even virtual, we only take up to 12 clients per class. Just again, so the instructor can give you the best workout. So
it's safe to say last year was very chaotic. How has the transition been from training clients physically to training them behind the screen?
We pivoted really fast, right? We went from closing the studio on March 14th, whereas the country closed about 10 days later. And then by the 21st or 22nd, we had started our virtual sessions. We didn't wait, which in hindsight, I kind of wish we did because that year was crazy, right? So a little break would have been good. But I think as instructors, I personally instruct myself, we found it a step forward in creating a different skill set. In being able to cue better with our words, being more descriptive with our words. Whereas earlier we could have easily made eye contact and been like, hey, you can't do that. Now it's okay, I have to speak to someone on a screen who I can't make eye contact with. How do I do that? And then secondly, we can't use our hands. So even at the studio now, we don't go and touch our clients. So what does that mean, right? How can I express myself better in words so that you understand what I would like you to do when I can't come and fix you? And the third thing is Barressential is built on this premise of community. It's always been about community. This is designed kind of like a living room, right? So what do we do with that? Now everyone's behind screens, no one can see each other. So it's, again, how do we bring that essence of Barressential into a virtual environment where you end up knowing the name of someone else who's in the room, right? So just creating that. Those 3 things have been the hardest. but now it's almost a year. So I hope that we've, managed to make some progress.
So what are the precautions you guys have taken?
I think we are the safest place to work out.
I figured, yeah.
That's partly because of my own personal interest or caution with regards to the pandemic. I feel like we were one of the first to understand the gravity of it. We never think it's like the flu. It's not like the flu, and it's important people realize that. An exercise space, if I'm absolutely honest, it's been, it's a nightmare to operate a services business in a pandemic. But what we have done is taken as much precaution as we can. We assess the level of risk, and then we put in procedures to mitigate that risk. And then when we feel comfortable that we've achieved a low risk status, then we reopen. So currently, like I said, we only have 5 people per class. When you come in, we take your temperature, but again, that's kind of pointless because asymptomatic patients, right? But we have a list of all the people who come in and who've taken their temperatures. We have now endorsed a masking or a face shield policy. We say, okay, masking is a little difficult for us to exercising, but a face shield is good because you're protecting your neighbor at the end of the day, right? We have a strict disinfectant process in place where we purchase very expensive equipment and industrial level sanitizers. So after everyone leaves, we spray down the whole space and we make sure that, again, no other person comes into the studio for at least half an hour. We believe hugely in ventilation. So we've installed fans in both the rooms and you can see a small fan out there as well. And what that does is extracts the air out of the rooms and sends it to this space where the windows can then flush the air out.
So what I've realized is not many men join Barressential. And why do you think that is?
I think it's a preconception that Bar and Pilates are just for females. We've had that, we had a thing where husbands and boyfriends were coming into class pre-pandemic, but now, of course, again, that's fallen. But I think it's an idea where, especially Pilates, they don't understand that men do it. So if you look at the Reform Pilates machines, like Cristiano Ronaldo, all the major athletes in the world, they have an element of Reform Pilates in their training schedule. So which is why we have had cricketers come in the recent past to get trained by us, ex-cricketers, and then also rugby players, right? And what they've found is, again, these are really bulky, strong men, but once they get on the machine, you can find that they really feel that impact of a different sort of workout onto their bodies. So although we don't have as many men right now, I would highly encourage men to sign up for class.
I might actually sign up after this.
That's good stuff,
So finally, what is the end goal for Barressential?
So the end goal, I think, is trying to exit this pandemic in the safest way possible, right? It's not about someone catching COVID in our space or anything. It's about a personal responsibility for the people who walk in through that door to make sure that I have the safest place available for them to get there, to keep their health and wellness going, right? And then secondly, I think we would love to get back to our original strategy of expansion, of seeing, proliferation of Bar and Pilates in Sri Lanka. It shouldn't be just this one place doing it. That's not much of a legacy. It should be a lot of people understanding, building awareness of what it is, and really incorporating it into their lifestyles. And I think I would also add, I would love people like me who hate to exercise, start to join in, and see that benefit.
Do you have any plans on extending your business, like having branches and stuff like that?
We don't know yet. Because 2020 was a year that kind of really stalled everyone in their tracks. So I think we'll let 2021 pass, maybe. Vaccines come, and then the world is ours again.
All right, Nare, thank you for having us, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thanks very much.